Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another Maybe Monthly vlog. This is the vlog for January. We're done with December. January 2026, first one of the year. Before we get too far into it, as usual, I just want to thank everybody for the continued support. This last year's been really cool and incredible and amazing, and it's just meant a lot to me that you guys have been sticking with me this past year. I didn't think we'd hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and while we didn't, we got really close, a lot closer than I thought we would. So, as previously mentioned before, when we hit that 2,000 mark, we'll be doing a giveaway. Still haven't figured out exactly how I want to do that giveaway quite yet. I know what it's going to be, like in terms of what's being given away. It's super simple, but how I want to construct the video for that. So we'll get into that. It's not going to be anything crazy. So yeah, so hit that 2,000 mark. We'll do another vlog to kind of talk about the details on that. Yeah. So just again, thank you guys for the support. If you guys do like what you like the channel, like seeing stuff on the channel. Sorry, I'm a little flustered. If you do like what you see on the channel, and you're not subscribed, subscribing goes a long way. It helps out a ton. I'm gonna do my part to kind of spread that message throughout the year as well. By making sure I post my stuff on BGG, because I don't ever, and I've had people tell me I should, and I had somebody else tell me that I should just recently, and I'm just going to make that my channel's New Year's resolution to make sure I'm putting my playthroughs out on BGG, just so that there's more awareness and things like that, and we get the channel to grow some more. So anyway, before we get into the topics for today, just want to kind of highlight some of the videos we did in December. So we did a lot of some more Essen related stuff. So we had another playthrough of Covenant, another playthrough of AR Children of the Sun. We did a playthrough of Forestry, actually two playthroughs of Forestry. Forestry was a late edition from Essen that I got. It's a game I was a little apprehensive on because it was compared to a Vladimir Suchy game, and I really bounced off of those. But honestly, aesthetically, it looks like maybe one. I think because some artwork, or the artist might have done some stuff like for evacuation and woodcraft, but mechanically and kind of the general tightness of the game doesn't feel as punishing. So I really enjoy it, and it's full AI opponent, so that also helps quite a bit. So I did some playthroughs of those. I did a couple of the solo games of the month. So those were some games that I just had lying around that I hadn't played yet. So I did a playthrough of The Cursed Castle and a playthrough of Small Time Heroes. So The Cursed Castle is a sort of like light, kind of reminds me of Set a Watch, honestly, more than anything. Like, you've got monsters you're fighting, and you're placing dice out and just activating abilities. So it's kind of like a mini version of Set a Watch, and Set a Watch is already a pretty like compact game. And then Small Time Heroes is a smaller version of Slay the Spire. So those are both very good games. The Cursed Castle and Rome: Fate of the Empire I had for a long time, both when those crowdfunded, but I waited to play them because I didn't have sleeves. And so when the Rome: Fate of the Empire, deluxe crowdfunding got delivered, I managed to get sleeves because that delivered with sleeves, and so I got that, and I've got the deluxe up of Rome, so I'll be doing a playthrough of that sometime in the future. I've got to play it a few more times before I record a playthrough, because it's kind of a lot, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. We did a playthrough of a couple Garfield games, actually. So Hadrian's Wall we did a playthrough of, and Legacy of You. The shout out to those particular games was I also have the Anarchy. I got that for Christmas, and so I was looking at my collection, and of course you guys know I love Garfield, and I was looking. I know that Hadrian's Wall and now the Anarchy are two well-renowned solo games, and I've always had a weird apprehension to like the roll and write, flip and write genre, so I decided that I would go ahead and make an exception for those two games, or any other kind of flip and writes that Garfield releases. But since I got Hadrian's Wall and I knew that I was getting the Anarchy, I wanted to do a playthrough of Legacy of You, because I think sometime in January, maybe into February, after we do the Anarchy playthrough, I'm going to be doing a ranking of all the Garfield games for solo. So I wanted to have a playthrough of Legacy of You out there, a playthrough of, and then of course Hadrian's Wall and the Anarchy. So that's why I kind of did that. We also did a playthrough of, I had a couple of my playthroughs from the 5x5 that I ultimately quit, but I still had some of those in the reserve. So another playthrough of Endless Winter and another playthrough of Role Player. So those are out there. Of course, the Marvel Legendary stuff. And I did kind of two kind of bigger videos, more talking videos, about the games that I culled this year, or last year rather. The Purge. So I talked about the 17 games or 16 games in expansion that I ended up letting go of in 2025. Maybe an annual thing. We'll kind of see if I'm doing everything right. Maybe it should be an annual thing, just because I probably should move games on. And the other one was my top 5 games of 2025, and my top 5 surprises. I don't think I mentioned it in that video, but I'll mention it here. Anything that I didn't include or talk about was either A, I didn't play it, or B, I didn't play it enough. So like Luthier behind me, I didn't play it enough to feel like I could put it on the list. A lot of stuff you guys are going to see this month that is like 2025 releases I didn't get until 2026, or I'm getting at the end of 2025. Like there'll be a playthrough of SETI with space agencies. Didn't get that in time for me to rank it. It would have made the list had I gotten it earlier. Because it's awesome. I played it 4 times in a row, just to tell you like how much I love that expansion. That should be coming up actually very soon, because I just recorded that today. So we'll be having that very, very soon. So yeah, and I talked about my 5 surprises, and all my surprises are like positive, but just things that where the game I had a different expectation of what the game was, and ended up exceeding that expectation. And I think it's a very fun video, because I think you do get kind of trapped in this, there's probably like 15 or so to 20 games that everybody talks about being like, these are on the top 10 lists everywhere. And I think my top 5 probably encapsulated that quite a bit for my favorite games of 2025, but I think the surprises were things that weren't something that is included on all the lists. So I really enjoyed doing that. So check that out. And since I didn't do it for 2024, I may next year kind of revisit the 2025 list and see if I still feel the same way, or if some of these other games that missed because of timing, like some of the ones I'm going to mention later in this video, maybe they get added in or something. So I'll think about that. But so let's kind of look forward into January, and then I kind of want to talk about just the channel and kind of reflecting on the year, and kind of just recalibrating myself to prepare for 2026. So we did, at the beginning of the month, I did a poll for the January game of the month. So that's what we're calling the extra playthrough that we're going to be doing every month. And instead of, we were doing 2 out of 4, I'm just picking 3 games. The one that makes the most votes will get to be the playthrough of the month, with the intent that eventually that becomes a live stream. We'll see. I'm still working on that part in terms of my internet, and my internet's really weird in my office, so I just struggle with that a bit. But the game that won was Galactic Cruise, so we'll be doing a Galactic Cruise playthrough probably about mid-month on a Saturday. I'll come back to that in case you missed the last vlog, but we'll have a playthrough of Galactic Cruise. It will be with the accommodations expansion, so it's the other expansion that comes with the game when you crowdfund it, or like I think you have to probably pay extra for it, but I all-in it, so I don't know. But this one includes, just like the advancements expansion, it includes the cabins that have to line up, like they're not all just in the center. But the main sort of kind of gimmick to this one is that instead of like your days in space or like your bonuses, you get like ads or money or whatever, reputation for your certain color guests in space. The days in space are based on your actual cabins, your actual rooms in your ship. They all have different bonuses. So you assign one of your guests to that room, and then you get that bonus if you have that color to match it. So it's a really cool extra detail layer of complexity to the game. And then the other thing it kind of adds is like a quick start thing. So it lets you remove like one of your upgrades off the thing, or it lets you start with some extra stuff or whatever. So those are like the 2 big parts that it adds. So that'll be about the middle of the month. Andromeda's Edge lost by a vote. It's 38 to 36, and less than 100 people voted, so it means that there has to be a vote. So I was going to do a playthrough of Andromeda's Edge, but I actually thought about doing something else that I'll kind of reference back in a bit for Andromeda's Edge. So there will be a playthrough of it, but maybe not in January. So with that being said, Galactic Cruise being the game that won for January, The February game will be one of 3 Garphill games, and actually they're going to be the very first in the 3 trilogies that have been released so far. So the choice is going to be between Shipwrights Redux, Architects of the West Kingdom, and Wayfarers of the South Tigris. Those are the options that are going to be available for February. So after this, go ahead and I'll put the poll up. You guys can go vote and decide which one of those games we do in February. So that'll be that. Kind of looking into the next few months into the year. A lot of people do their top 10s, top 100s, things like that at the end of the year, at the beginning of the next. Back in 2025, I waited till about March to do that. I think that gave me enough time to really compile that list, make sure that what was on there was going to be on there, and I give myself a cutoff of the year before. So when I did it in March of 2025, it was as of 2024. So my rule for my top 10 is going to be anything that I got after 2025 can't be on the list. That's why SETI didn't make it last year, because SETI would have made it had I gotten it in 2024, played it, and I could have added to the list 2025, but I didn't get it to 2025. So that'll be coming out in March. So I know it's kind of a few months away, but because of the Andromeda's Edge, it gave me the good idea that I want to revisit my top 10 list and do a playthrough of each of the games leading up to the new top 10 list. I think that would be a good way to kind of refresh those games, make sure they deserve to be in the spots they are, deserve to get moved out, and to kind of share those games because those are my favorite games. At least at one point they were my top 10. Obviously some stuff will shift around this year, but I really wanted to share those and do some videos with that. So that will be where Andromeda's Edge will land because it's in my top 10. So we'll do a playthrough of Andromeda's Edge in the next couple weeks or month or so. So I wanted to make sure we got a playthrough of that just because it basically tied with the other game. So that'll be coming down the line. As for some other stuff coming up in January, I mentioned the Anarchy. There's going to be quite a few post-Essen games, like a lot of Essen releases that happened that I got after Essen. Aquaria, that'll be coming up. Another lighter game by Thomas Hollek called Pawnscape. So I should be eating those very, very soon. Thebai I got coming, and then I also got the Minos. So those will probably be sooner. And then the Windmill Valley and the Minos expansions will be coming hopefully in the next couple weeks as well. I got those, but Card House put them up too early, and so they're still waiting on one of them before they send it to me. But I've got those all coming. Speaking of which, I might do another playthrough of Minos just in general because I really want to get that game back out. I played it a couple times in December and November to kind of refresh because I was anticipating the expansion. And I was supposed to get my stuff I crowdfunded for at the promos, and they still didn't send them to me, so I have to talk to Board and Dice again. I'm waiting on them to reply to my service ticket. But we'll probably do a regular Minos playthrough and prep for the expansion because I did that for Windmill Valley. And then... I'll probably do another Tianxia playthrough because I only get to play it one time for when it came out. So that'll be some of the stuff in the month, at the beginning of the month. And then also in December, I put out a poll asking about some older Euro games, and you guys overwhelmingly voted for Grand Austria Hotel. So I also have that coming. It's actually in the same order with my Minos and Windmill Valley expansion. So when that shows up, we'll be doing some playthroughs of that because I want to do the playthrough with the base game, but then there's all the expansion modules. But you have to get the expansion to play it solo. So we'll be doing that as well. So it's kind of a preview of the next couple months. I also have a playthrough, which will probably be tomorrow, is going to be Arborea because I got that game out to play and relearn because it's the only Danny Garcia game I own, even though it's my first of his games that I haven't done a playthrough of. So I wanted to get a playthrough of that out, get a playthrough with the expansion, which I haven't done yet, and to kind of prep for the crowdfunding campaign because that should be coming out in January, I think, as well. So lots of stuff in the next couple months, but kind of want to give you a little bit of preview of it. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to be a lot, mainly because we're dropping down to 3 videos a week. So I didn't mention this. I mentioned this in my last vlog, but I'll just reiterate it here if you guys missed that. We'll be going to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule for releases. So Monday will be the day that I do things like Marvel Champions, Marvel Legendary, Spirit Island, Final Girl, Imperium Horizons, Skytier Horde, what else? Anything like that, like Invincible, the card game, or Astro Knights, just like things that can, Marvel missions, stuff like that, where there's just a lot of like switching characters out, deck building, lots of like just different factions, things where there's like a lot of variety to the game. That'll be my Monday. So actually, this Monday will be a legendary playthrough, because it's no longer going to be every Friday. I've taken that away. We'll get legendary every once in a while, but I want to kind of switch it up a bit. And then Wednesday and Friday will be our typical just gameplays. Another game I want to get played is Merv, because I've done a playthrough of AR and a playthrough of St. Corey, so I want to get that played as well to kind of round out the trilogy there. And then there's maybe some games that I want to pull back out and we'll play again, like Endeavor Deep Sea. I want to get another playthrough out on the channel. I want to get another playthrough of Manepher. So there may be some older games from last year or the year before that you guys will see some action on. But kind of to give you the general thing, there will be a lot of new stuff coming through at the Anarchy, like I mentioned. All those Essen games I talked about, and then my top 10 from last year, just to kind of round up to lead into that. So that's really kind of a preview of the next couple months. Yeah, so I just kind of want to really take this time mostly to reflect on the year. A lot happened this year in my personal life especially, but on the channel as well. Kind of gives a TLDR of everything in my personal life just in general. I mean, obviously I got married. That was later in the year, but kind of just going back to the beginning. The beginning of 25, I had a puppy that was had a puppy that that was only 2 months old, and in the time of getting that dog, who's now like an 80-pound German Shepherd adult, one of my other dogs, Daisy, had to have double knee surgery, and that was really hard for us, and she's my baby, and she just turned 4 in December, so that was just really hard. My sister moved to Korea, so helping her get that ready. In March, one of our dogs, Hawkeye, our German pointer, our short-haired pointer, who was like 15, he passed away. So there's a lot, like the first few months of the year was just a lot happening. But I got to travel, got to go to Hawaii, went to Korea, my very first time flying out of the country, second time ever going out of the country. I took my wife to see my dad in November for Thanksgiving, so that was really good. I got married in October. So the year was kind of hard in the beginning, but ended up kind of settling down in the end, and just ended up being a really, really grateful and wonderful end of the year. For the channel, though, I think, and I mentioned this like again in my last vlog, that like going to 4 videos, going down to 3 videos a week, I think is going to improve, my attitude and my mental health on just making videos. Sometimes I just don't really feel it, and I don't want that to ever come through. So I think giving myself the extra time and space to sit with some stuff a little bit more is going to make me feel a little bit better about things. I think the 5x5 was kind of an interesting experiment that failed, and I like the concept of doing it, especially when was doing 200 playthroughs throughout the year. I mean, you talk about at least 4 videos a week, and almost all of them were playthroughs. Doing 4 playthroughs a week is just a lot of stuff. So I thought the 5x5 would be a good way to kind of supplement that space, but I don't know that I approached it the correct way, at least for how I want to make videos. I should have honestly just like picked a game and spent a weekend just playing it to record all my playthroughs, and then just had them all in the bank basically by the end of January into February, and then I could have just released them throughout the year and then spaced them out and given some space. But instead I recorded all of some, parts of others, and didn't feel like ever pulling out A Feast for Odin, which was funny because that was the whole kind of main reason I wanted to do it, was to play A Feast for Odin a bunch, and I just didn't want to play A Feast for Odin after the 2 times. I mean, there was one time I pulled it out, set it up, and was like, I'm not doing this right now, and put it all back. So it was tough. I also did a personal 10x10, and I failed that as well. I didn't even get any of the games to 10. There were some games I didn't even play, like White Castle I didn't even play. So I don't know how I don't think I'm going to commit to anything like that really anymore. I think committing to something that's kind of big in that way, and a lot of dedication and effort and time to do, seems just too big of a task for how I do things. And I think I'd rather like not try to say I'm going to do it, and then if I end up doing something like that, then maybe it'll be fun. Like if I happen to come back and look at the end of 2026 and realize, oh, we did 5 playthroughs on the channel of 5 different games, So I did a 5x5 on the channel, and I could talk about it that way. I think that would be a much more constructive and healthy way to go about it than say I'm going to do this and then burn out on it. So that's that's one of my biggest takeaways. I think another thing too is just not trying to commit to some of those bigger ideas, and I think just kind of just enjoy my time with these games and enjoy the conversation we have in the comments and in the videos. And I think that's my favorite part of doing this, really, is just talking to you guys in the comments. I know we all play solo, but then we get to talk about it together, which I think is a lot of fun. I do have a couple kind of questions and kind of putting some feelers out there. Obviously the prime deal on this channel is playthroughs, but would you want to see like a first impressions or review out of me? I do kind of give a first impressions after I do a playthrough of a game for the first time, but would you like to see like a more in-depth first impressions or a more in-depth kind of review of something? And it, of course, would be from a solo perspective. Is that something that you'd be interested in hearing from me? I think with the live streams, I think it'd also be fun to just kind of chat in live streams. So is that another thing you guys would be interested in? I think those could be, I don't know about the reviews, but I think the live streams could be just extra. Like they wouldn't take away from the playthroughs, but I just think it'd be kind of fun to have conversations and just hang out. So if those are things you guys are interested in, let me know, and we can maybe kind of work those in and kind of see. The review part is interesting because I think, I think about some of this stuff, but I don't really articulate it all that much. And I think sometimes people ask me what I think about something, and it would be nice to just not have to this was a comment from 6 months. This was a comment on a video I posted 6 months ago, and try to remember. I haven't played the game since then. What did I think about it? So I think after doing some playthroughs and doing a video over a playthrough, I could talk about my thoughts on it in kind of more constructive way. If that's something you guys are interested in, please let me know. I'd be really interested to know what you guys think of that. So yeah, I think with all that being said, I'm going to end it there. I'm really excited to see what 2026 brings to the channel, and I'm really excited to continue to have the conversation with you guys. So again, I'm gonna drop it. If you guys aren't subscribed but do like what you see, commenting, subscribing, liking all the videos helps out a ton. So anyway, with all that being said, I'll see you guys in 2026. You guys have a good one. Hopefully you guys had a good Happy New Year. And that's going to be it for me today. Bye-bye.